Hey, it's Albert with Two Tribes Primal Living, and just kind of finished up with working on a greenhouse a little bit. Um, Something about working alone that I get to talk to myself and get to ask myself questions, think about things, and let the mind run free. And you know, I think I'm out here working, and I'm working all by myself. Um, there's not a sound in the world except for the wind, the river, the birds, and the chickens that are clucking in the background. But I sometimes when I'm out here, I have to ask myself, how the hell did this happen? How did I end up out here in the mountains, away from everybody and away from everything? And I walked away from 48 years of existence. I had a successful business um, for pretty much 15 years. I was in the same field of work for over 30 years, and I was in the service industry. I was a TV repairman, and I spent a lot of time dodging people in town, at the stores, at festivals, wherever I went. I would always get cornered by somebody asking me about TVs or wanting advice or when you're somewhere your whole life. I remember it was on Rocky Balboa, when Polly was talking to Rocky, and they were visiting Adrian's grave, and they were going, from place to place, revisiting the past, and Paulie told Rocky, when you stay at a place long enough, you become that place, and that place becomes you. And where I live, my hometown, I was that place. I lived there for 48 years. I knew all the back roads. I knew everything. I had all the resources. I had everything mapped out, from who to get the best deal from on whatever I needed, or where the best food was, or um, it was just familiar. Everything was familiar. The sounds, the smells, the views, and I find myself out here, and there's some sounds that I hear that I have no clue what they are. My brain cannot literally process what what the sounds are, or what the animal is that it's making the sound, or the weather conditions. That was another thing that I knew well over there, was the weather. It was horrible. I mean, 110, 115, 120-degree heat indexes, and that's not because it was hot like the summer, hot and dry. That's because it was humid and nasty. And I remember I could take a shower in the morning, and then have to go load something up in the car and just walk outside and just be drenched in sweat. And the mosquitoes, right about now, I bet those mosquitoes are probably eating those people up right now. But up here, it's a lot more pleasant. I don't understand why we get attached to a place, why we get locked down. So many people travel the world. So many people. My wife is one of them. She's seen, a better part of the world. She's seen more of the world than I could ever imagine. But it's like, what makes a person decide, in this big globe, on this big planet, this is good enough. I had family connections for a while. My mother died off. My son moved off. My brothers moved off. For the most part, I only had was my dad there and my sister, and I didn't have any real family connections or any real purpose to stay in one place anymore. And it wasn't until I met my wife that she started opening up those possibilities for me to get out of there, to escape from there, because there was nothing there for me. I mean, it literally was just work and eat and exercise, and work and eat and exercise, and work and eat and exercise. It became monotonous. It was never. Um, it wasn't exciting anymore. I think after my 20s, after doing all the drinking and the partying and pasture parties and drinking on the back roads and all that stuff, there was no recreation. Which I like to rock climb. I like to hike. I like to be outdoors. And where I was, there was just no outdoor recreation. It was um, it was torture for somebody like me, but I was torturing myself, because it's like, how do you the monkey trap, the you put a jar out, big enough for the monkey to get its hand into. And this is a lesson that I learned, and I always knew about it. I just never applied it. Um, and that monkey sticks its hand in the jar, and there's a treat in there for the jar, and that jar is tied to a rope. And that monkey will grab that treat, and as long as his hand is in a fist, he can't get his hand out. And the stupid monkey does not know that if he just let go, he could get his hand out. But he's so attached to that treat, to that possible reward that may be lingering around there inside that jar. He didn't, um, and that's what it was like for me. It was like, why don't you just open up your hand and let go? And when I let go, I jumped. I mean, moving off grid, I didn't just move to another town and go get another job and go find a house and or an apartment, or build a new business. We could have left town and opened up another gym, and I could have started up my business again. But I just didn't. That that uh that monotony is what finally pushed me off the cliff. It's like, you better jump. If you don't jump right now, and right now, this is an opportunity. Like, I'm pretty savvy as far as what's going on in the world right now. I know that's kind of bold statement to say, because everybody's trying to figure out um, whether this virus is natural, um, um, intentional, or accidental. And with the rioting and all this stuff, and everybody's, the economy is in a shithole, and people are losing their jobs. I mean, we're up to 50 million people unemployed, just in the United States. And in the this second wave of the virus is coming around, and it doesn't. When I say I'm savvy, I say that neutrality is what keeps me savvy. I don't pick a side. I stay in the middle, and what makes sense to me is how I respond. So when we started picking up on the economy, Nikki and I made some major preparations, leading up to getting out here. We stockpiled money. We sold the house. We didn't spend any money. The money that we did spend was like, every now and then we'd go on a trip, but we didn't have car payments. We weren't buying expensive clothes and stuff like that, like most people do. We were just kind of um, understanding that there was an urgency to prepare to get away from the monotonous life, and to learn learn how to be self-sufficient, learn how to be self-reliant. And I didn't know what we were doing at the time. We were prepping. We became preppers. and we became gold and silver stackers, and we started studying and preparing for homesteading, and then we started looking off grid, and with everything that was going on the planet, the only thing that made sense was prepping, homesteading, stacking silver, and going off grid. That was the only thing that we could figure. And when I decided, after 48 years, almost 50 years of living in one place, never leaving that place, it's like, this is my opportunity to shut my business down, to stop doing what I'm doing. I don't want to fix TVs anymore. I've been fixing people's TVs and fixing people's electronic devices, and servicing all kinds of made in China garbage that I didn't want to do anymore. So this crisis, this possibility of a economic collapse, was what led me to say it's time to jump. And then the virus hit, and I've made videos on it. We've made videos on it before. The virus hit, and we were almost at the point where it's like, geez, are we going to be locked down to the point where we're not even going to be able to move off grid? We had already sold the house. We had already sold both businesses off, or started selling both businesses off, and it was just a matter of are we going to be able to travel? And the travel restrictions from state to state never occurred by vehicle. There was never any checkpoints or anything like that. But I have a feeling on this second outbreak or pandemic, whatever you want to call it, I have a feeling that travel is going to be limited. I think it's going to be worse than the first go round. And it was an opportunity. I'm not. I don't want to go into that tangent about the virus and what they're doing to people, but it's almost like we were intended to be here. We were meant to be here. I'm learning new skills, things that I couldn't do because I was so busy working and paying bills and trying to keep up with the expectations of others. And now, since we came out here, and there's food crisis, there's food shortages. I don't want to get into that because people don't understand that there's going to be a financial reset. There's all this chaos going on, and we showed up out here prepared. We showed up out here prepared for a year, but you know it took, and it's going to take a crisis. It's going to take some major catastrophe or some. I mean, winning the lottery is something that could happen that would cause somebody to change their lifestyle and change their lifestyle forever, but or an inheritance or a settlement or stuff like that. But most people who end up with in those situations, they come into money and they blow through it like nobody's business. I mean, they just give it right back to the people who know how to take money from you. So the life changing events that usually happen um, can be positive. I mean, a new job, a new wife, not that or a wife or a husband or a new child or anything like that. Those are lifestyle changing events, but a crisis where everybody's going through it, not just half the town or a couple of people at a company that shut down forever. I'm talking about the entire planet. You've got people taking money from the government right now because they can't pay their bills. You've got unemployment, people on unemployment, and people barely holding on to their jobs. And then you got the I already forgot what they call them, the necessary workers, the geez, I can't even think of the word right now that people have labeled essential, the essential workers, and then you got the non-essential workers, and they've divided us up that way. So now I'm essential and you're not essential, but it doesn't really matter about all those things. um, I walked away from a life of 48 years in one place. Um, and I guess that's my whole realization throughout, working alone today, and understanding that for 48 years I was that monkey with my hand in the jar, and I could have let go at any time, but it literally took the right person supporting me, um, a crisis or some type of condition that made me go. We own two businesses, and I have a feeling that these businesses are going to be um, screwed because of the shutdowns, the lockdowns, and I was correct in that. I was absolutely correct in that. They would have shut down our gym, um, and my service business would have suffered because a lot of it was involved in going into customers' homes, and I was not allowed to go into customers' homes. It wasn't considered essential work, um, because a TV, of course, a TV is not essential, but people think it is. Um, and I can tell you stories about that shit, that nonsense, people and their TVs. But that it took me realizing that something's not right. Um, Something doesn't feel right about the future. Uh, in me staying here, in me continuing trying to continue to do what I'm doing, and so we left. We left Texas and came up here, found an opportunity out here off grid, and where we can learn to become self sustaining and self reliant. And when all this is over, uh, I follow quite a few preppers, quite a few off gridders, quite a few financial advisors who talk about who actually talk about the real economy and what's really going on, not the shit that you see on TV. And the world's collapsing and unemployment is way down. People who are employed are down here. Money's spending is at an all-time low, and then the stock market is up here, and everybody's woohoo. The stock market's doing good, but it's not us, the people who are supporting the stock market. It's fake. It's all fake, and so you know when you realize that all that's going on, and your intuition tells you to get out, go away. So all these people that I follow, we're all in the same boat. We are all preparing. There's not one person that I listen to, even if I don't like them. I listen to people that I don't even like, um, because it's not who they are. It's not their personality. It's not their style. It's not their persona or anything like that. It's the information that they're sharing. And I think you know that they're all saying the same thing. So we follow people on TV, and you follow athletes, and you follow um, movie stars and game show hosts and media personnel and politicians and all this stuff. But those are not the people who live amongst us. Those are not the people who see the real life situations that we as the middle class or upper middle class or lower middle class or whatever class you want to classify yourself as based on your digits on a screen. um, those people don't live amongst us. The people who live amongst us are the people who are really trying to help, that are really trying to wake people up and make them aware of what's really going on in this planet. And I would rather listen to somebody who is authentic, down to earth, just like me, not trying to get money from you, or not trying to manipulate you, but somebody who is just trying to explain that there are real things going on. And had I not started to listen to people like that, I would probably be stuck back home with two failed businesses, trying to recoup my entire life savings, because we would have had to still pay all the rent and all the utilities and all the insurance and everything that is required to support a business, to support two businesses, and it would not have. And what would I have learned? I would have learned that I'm not in control of anything. I would have learned that my businesses and my livelihood could be taken by a mandate, order. You're shut your business down. You're not allowed to operate. And I don't know how I would have dealt with that if I would have been stuck in there. I have no clue how I would have dealt with that. But that's not my problem. My problem is so much more pleasant now. Now I get to see what is up against me. I get to see what I'm battling against. Whether it's cows or chickens or the weather or trying to figure out a structure that I'm working on, or the gardening, raising food. Those are real life, self-sustaining skills that you don't learn in the city. You don't learn them living in an apartment complex or in the ghetto or in the suburbs or in the city. You don't learn those things. You're actually deprived of truth in actual skill building activities. Even being under inside all day long at work, or being paid shit for doing a intensive labor job. I don't. I have certifications and I'm a fairly educated guy. I'm self-educated, but none of that shit is making me money right now. None of that shit is preparing me for what's coming in the future. Those of you who are still holding on to your jobs, and those of you who have already lost your jobs, or your house has been reduced to one income, and then the other one is still barely holding on, because shit, all it takes is one person to show up with a damn diagnosis of some mild virus that like I said, it's I would expect more people to be dead. I would expect more people I know to be infected with it by now, but it's just not happening like that. And so all it takes is one person to come into your work, and you're screwed. Go home. Uh, we got to shut down, and you're gonna have to go quarantine. And so everybody is just on that on that hinge right now. Am I going to stay, or are we going to stay open? But there's nothing. There's no control there. Out here, at least, I have some say over what's going on in my life. I have some say over what I'm doing out here, and I think that's a balance that I needed. I needed to find that balance. Nikki needed that balance, and it's not perfect out here. We're sacrificing quite a bit just to be out here. We don't have all the luxuries that everybody has. We don't have all the accommodations and creature comforts that everybody has, but we have security, and we have life building skills developing right now. We don't live in fear right now. We're not questioning anything. And I think that's the beauty of the decision that I was guided towards in through energy. I know it was energy that did it, um, the universal energy that we all can tap into, and so I'm gonna leave it there. I just wanted to talk a little bit about being out here off grid, walking away from my life, why I walked away from my life, why I have no desire to go back to my life. This is my life now. This is pleasant. This is harmony. This is balance. This is a future that I can depend on, because I get to teach myself how to live, um, self sufficient, not depending on government, not depending on corporations, not depending on technology, but depending on the land and depending on my capability and keeping my health in good condition and keeping my mind in good condition and keeping my spiritual um, walk in good condition and we're gonna ride this out and see what happens. We've made all the necessary steps for our future financially. We're continuing to train to keep physically fit. So it's just a matter of sacrifice, and whether you're allowed to make that sacrifice or you're forced to make that sacrifice. Um, Sacrifices are going to need to be made in the near future, and it's a reality that we're all facing. There's not one of us who can run from it, because when the economy crashes, it's going to crash and it's going to crash hard, and that's something that you need to be prepared for. You need to be preparing for it, and I wish I could help more people understand that, but it's not my place. To everybody, it's an opinion. To those who don't understand what's really going on, it's just an opinion of some guy who doesn't know what he's talking about because he's living out in the mountains, hiding out in the woods. But um, I'm okay with that. I am really okay with that because um, it's the safest place where I can be. It's the only place that I'm going to learn the skills to continue to evolve. So I know this life isn't for everybody. I know this life isn't possible for everybody, but um, preparation and understanding that the world is shifting. This paradigm is shifting. Everything is shifting right now, and it's not going back to the way it was before. And it's not over. The worst of it is not over yet. There's still a lot left to contend with, and a lot of decisions are going to be made for you, and you're not going to be able to make. You're not going to be able to prepare for them if you don't really know what's going on. And I suggest that if there is a little bit of doubt in your heart, in your soul, in your mind about the official narratives that are going on right now, I suggest that you jump on the bandwagon and start finding out the truth and understanding what the truth is about what's really going on. So I'm going to leave it there. I know I said that before, but um, like I said, I can just keep putting these messages out, and maybe somebody, one of my friends, somebody back home, somebody who is struggling with jumping or preparing or making a decision or trying to figure out why, when, where, how, what. Um, you know, that's what these messages are for. So take care, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop me a comment. Let me know what you think.